Yo. Okay, we're good. All right, so what's up, guys? Today is my grandma's birthday. I'm not at my computer, otherwise I would do some funny stuff. Probably not, because she doesn't listen to the show, because I say fuck, but it's all good. Love her anyway. It's 4:50 or 5:43, and it is April 14th, 2025, 7:30 p.m. 7:28 technically, but all good. All right, what's going on? So last few days, I've talked about the same shit, and nothing's really changed. Matter of fact, I've only felt better about everything immensely. And I think the early stages right now of this, obviously it's brand new, it's a change, it's exciting, I'm pumped up. Don't have to do something that I really don't want to do anymore. So I'm feeling that for sure. Very excited. I almost feel energized because I don't have to. For example, I went to the gym today. Didn't even worry about my camera. Didn't even think about where I could put it to film myself or to record or anything like that. Didn't even think about it. And that was a really good feeling to know that I could just go in there and just work out, and I could just put my earphones in and just work out and have a good time. Now, to be fair, I usually do that. Only sometimes do I say, oh shit, I have to get my phone, I have to record, that blows. But so it's not all the time. I don't want to make it seem like it is, but when it is, it just sucks, dude. It's like I have to pay more attention to the camera and the angles and how it looks and all this stuff. And it's just kind of, I don't know, just not something I really want to do all the time. And again, I don't do it all the time, but when I do, it's just very frustrating. So anyway, when I went in there today, I didn't even think about it. How's it going? I didn't even think about recording or taking, just it was a good feeling, and just haven't had that in a minute. So like a real let loose, like, hey, I'm not doing this ever again. Now I probably will in the future, because I got a really nice camera. May as well use it, or just return it. If I'm not going to do this, then I don't know. But anyway, so all right, so still feeling, so yeah, I'm riding that high. I don't know if I would call it a high, but I'm definitely feeling good about things. So I'm trying to think of what I talked about yesterday so I don't repeat myself, because Lexi and I, we did an outdoor workout together, and we actually talked about everything that I'm doing and my goals, my stance on things, and why I want to, move around and try something different. And it was very reassuring for numerous reasons. One of them was that she says she supported me. And to be fair, for the record, if she said, no, this is a dumb idea, I don't support you, I would say, wow, that really sucks to not have your support. I'm still going to do it anyway, because I'm not going to let any one human being, any one person, tell me what I can or can't do, regardless if they support or don't support whatever it is I do or don't do. And I swear by that. So whole family, dogs, ants, cats, could say, hey, this is stupid. And I would say, that really sucks, dude, but I'm gonna go anyway. So anyway, it was extra nice to have that support and to have that encouragement. And it was also interesting because she said, yeah, I could tell you really weren't that passionate about it. And I was like, you know what? That's not the first time I've been told that either. In the past, I've been told, oh, man, you got to make a workout program again? You hate that, huh? And I'm like, I guess I do. And I don't hate it. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just different. But anyway, so when she said that, I was like, wow, so you see it too. So I don't know, man. I do want to share one thing before I forget. So going back to the whole logic and math and algorithms and solving puzzles and systematizing everything and optimizing everything and making some kind of automation out of something. So, I've realized And this is me connecting the dots backwards, but I think this is applicable here. So I think I've told the story before live on the show, but I used to soothe myself at night, being a scared little kid, with probability and logic. That was how I would calm myself down. So how it would sound was, so for context, I lived in these townhomes with my mom, stepdad, and little brother. This is actually when I think before my little brother was born, but there was probably 10 bundles of 4. So it was 4 houses and then a gap, 4 houses and a gap, but they were all touching, these townhomes, condos, whatever you want to call them. And so I was the 9th one down, and I was the middle one. And I was just scared that someone was going to break in and kidnap me or something. And I literally, as a kid, thought in my head, what's the likelihood that they choose the 9th townhome down, all the way at the very end of the street, and then the 3rd one in, and pick me to be kidnapped? They have all these other houses first. Why would they just skip and go all the way to this one first? And then when I thought about it that way, I'm like, wow, the likelihood, I don't even know, I probably didn't say likelihood, but I was like, the chance, It's like, oh, the chance that they even take me is so low. I have nothing to be scared of. And I used to calm myself down with numbers. And I mean, I say logic and probability. That's not what I was thinking. No doubt about that. But that is how I used to calm myself down. I just think that's interesting. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, wow, this goes a lot deeper this goes a lot further back than I thought. Because at first, I thought it was just, like in puzzles and numbers and math and stuff like that. But it turns out it's actually more. It goes deeper, calming myself down as a little kid, with numbers and probability, So, I don't know. I wanted to share that before I forgot. But anyway, so the other thing that I was going to say, the other thing, I always do that. I'm always just thinking, and then I just brain dead. No idea what the hell I was saying. All right, I'm around a lot of little kids now, so I'm gonna have to be a little quiet here. But as far as the words and stuff, but dude, I can't. Let's see. So, okay, so we have So this is actually tough for me. I'm walking through a playground, and so many people, adult parents, are just staring at me with my weighted vest on around the kids. So, okay. So anyway, yeah, I was thinking about that, and how's it going? And I was thinking about that with the whole calming down, soothing with the numbers. That's when I thought it goes further back than I thought. And I talked about this already, but I was like, I play Minecraft, dude. And when I play that, I play normally for sure, but I'm always building some kind of, and I'm just gonna speak, if you know how to play Minecraft. If you don't, then you're not gonna get this, and it's fine. But I used to play so that I would make every single mob grinder that I possibly could within the closest vicinity of one another, so that I could stay in one central location and benefit from all the drops and the loot that the monsters would drop. I would do that with making a villager farm, so I could trade with them with emeralds. I would do the same. Like, I play the game for fun, and it's enjoyable, but it's almost like a job or a task for me to do it, and that kind of, it ruins, I don't want to say ruins because I love the game, but it almost, in a sense, it ruins the fun of the game, because I'm so focused on doing the same thing every time, because it's just how to optimize the world to make the world long term that much more enjoyable. But it's always a grind when you start. There's a payoff, you gotta spend the first 2 months of the world that you're playing grinding and getting these things. But anyway, enough of that. A lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about, so it's okay. But anyway, also, what you guys just heard, I was walking through a park, lots of people there. Just couldn't keep my train of thought. Just no idea what I was talking about. But I guess the fact that I kept talking, that's some kind of W. So in my head, they know that I don't have AirPods in, so they know that I'm talking to myself. And yeah. Just, dude, straight up, just a little insecure. I don't think insecure is the right word. It's got to be embarrassment. It's like in my head, I think that they're thinking of me as someone that I think I'm not, but I don't. I'm just doing my own thing, dude. And I'm loving it, you know? Anyway, so yeah, I'm definitely riding that introduction high. I'm switching something and starting something new because everything is beautiful and green and great. I'm willing to bet that I'm gonna cross a spider web because I'm walking through this big bush. I'm calling it now. Let's see how many. If I don't get one, dude, that's crazy. Well, didn't get one. All right, anyway. So, still in the intro stages, obviously just actually today. So what I did, that was the other thing. So Lexi was like, okay, I love you, I support you, I want this for you. How are you gonna go about learning this? And I don't know if this is what she was thinking or not, but maybe, I could be wrong, I don't know. But maybe she was like, well, you're not going to school, so how are you gonna learn this, you know? I don't know if that's what she thought. Maybe not, but doesn't matter. But honestly, you can learn anything and everything online for free these days. You just gotta look for it. And even then, people just post their shit for free. I mean, you have Alex Hermosis of the world that literally their whole business model is to give so much value and content away for free that you make your business up to $3 million a year so that he can work with you, take some shares or equity of your company, scale it to 10 million or 20 million or whatever, and then live happily ever after. But he does that by giving away so much value for free, and I just think that's very cool. As his whole business model is just teaching and educating. So obviously he's not in the software development space, but he did. What is the proper way to say that he founded a company? He founded a company. It's called Allen. It's a software company. Can't remember what it does, but he did that. So that leads me to believe that he went from fitness to software. Or no, he went from fitness to supplements to software to, I think it was something else. But that's what he did, and I thought that was kind of cool that was his path. I was looking at my watch timer, and I thought that was the length of the podcast for some reason. We've only been going for 12 minutes. Cool. So that's kind of cool to know that kind of similar paths, you know. But the other cool thing is that there's a guy that I follow. His name's Dan Martell. Really good guy. And he got his success in tech companies and tech startups through coding. So he learned how to code when he was 17. Now I'm 10 years behind that. But when I was in 8th grade, I did run a Minecraft server. Okay, so that requires not coding, but a lot of knowing my way around things that would look like coding. You know, some of it's just a lot of, I would say it's very straightforward. But for being in 8th grade and knowing how to do all that, no problem, and having 50 active users on the server from around the world, I would say that's pretty successful. And back then, for the record, it was just survival Minecraft. There was no mini games back then. There was Hunger Games wasn't even out, I don't think. You just joined and you played with friends. That was it. It was called Breakercraft. Literally what I called it. I said Breakercraft. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, probably had so much success with that because I was operating everything. I had to do all the file stuff, make everything run the best, make everything look the best, make sure everything was running as smoothly as it could, you know? But anyway, so where was I going with that? Oh man, dude, I don't know. I just lose my train of thought so easily, huh? I think I gotta turn around. Yeah, I gotta turn around, skis. Hold on, guys, I'm sorry. I know when I do these outdoor workouts, I know I'm spacey as fuck. I'm just highly distracted, trying to figure out when I gotta turn around, watching my 6 here, and making sure I'm not getting too far off track, because while the workouts have to be 45 minutes, I would prefer, or longer, I'd prefer if they were almost 45 on the dot, so that time I can use to do whatever I want to do. In this case, I'm going to have to go home, get this podcast uploaded, read, and then shower, all that shit, and go to bed. So cool thing is, my water, stayed on top of my water today, so I think I have 20 ounces left. I got to go to bed in an hour, so not bad. There's one time I downed 73 ounces in 45 minutes or something like that. Something crazy. It was a podcast, I recorded it, I know I did. And then I called Shawnee out. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. So before I forget, I'm just going to have to say things in the order that I think of them so I don't forget. But, I think of this podcast a lot. This is the one thing that I've been the most consistent with my entire life. I mean, this is day 543 or whatever of doing this every single day, not missing a day. And, sometimes I'll have coworkers that come up to me and they say, oh, I listened to this, that was funny when you said this, or blah, blah, blah. And it's always cool to hear. And I just assume that they only listen to one show and then peace out. I just make that assumption, but some people listen to more. And some people listen to every single one. And that's kind of cool. But, I think about it like long term. So I'm doing this every day. I'm showing up every day doing this. It's a very low bar. You just got to talk, document, and then upload. That's it. That's the bar. Talk about my day and then upload it. That's it. Not trying to teach, not trying to educate, just trying to share my thoughts and views. So just sharing my opinion. So giving myself a platform to vent to on public platform. But anyway, so I'm doing this, and I'll have people listen, and it seems like they listen for a spurt. We'll say 10, 20 episodes. And then it's like they don't say anything to me anymore. Now, again, I that's fine. I'm not upset. But it's a pattern that I've recognized. So somebody will say, hey, I was listening the other day when you said blah, 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 that's cool or that's funny. And then they'll do that every day for a week or something. Then all of a sudden, it's nothing. And then sometimes they'll just bring it up like, hey, have you listened by chance? And then they'll say no. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'm just curious. And, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get at is this thing remains continuous. I'm going to keep on going no matter what. And if you catch some good ones, catch a good streak of good episodes, then I guess you get a good streak of them. But I have noticed that my listens have dipped relative to that little high that we had for, I don't know, about a month. Almost every episode was 20 streams. We're back down to the 5s, 6s, and 7s. Always grateful, but something happened. And, it is what it is. I'm not recording these for any other reason than to document. I've still been entertaining that idea of, I was entertaining that idea of making this private and just recording them and then uploading them in bulk, 10 years later, something like that. But with this whole switch in direction, kind of makes me want to be more public about this podcast now, you know what I mean? Because the obstacle from the first time was I didn't want to have a sales call with somebody, with a client. They sign up, and then, their information, or if you won't even say that that's the problem, all that stuff is posted, and everybody can hear it. And I don't think it's a big deal. Obviously I would blur out important information. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, this is credit card, this is social, shit, But, I don't know, something in my head, I just didn't want to, for example, you, person listening, let's just say you just paid me $1,500 to sign up. You do that on the phone, and then that whole recording gets posted the next day, and then when we get off the phone, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, I knew I could do this shit. Holy hell, this fucking feels so good. And then to hear that as the client, maybe you don't even care about other people hearing that, but you care about the fact that that's how I reacted. Like, oh shit, what do you mean he knew he could do it? Like, what does this mean? He just got $1,500, what the hell, And I think I just didn't want that to come back, and I just don't want there ever to be a dispute on any episode. You know what I mean? I don't want there to be someone that's like, hey, you gotta take that down, or something. Now, there's things that I can do. Oh, by the way, for a legitimate reason, let me clarify. But there's things that I can do, like I can re-upload the episode and, blur something out, I can do that. But I would never want to take something down and have a gap in the episodes. You know what I mean? So imagine it's, we're 7,000 episodes deep. It goes 7,000, 7,001, 7,002, 7,003, 7,005. Because 7,004, someone got offended or someone didn't like that I shared this info or whatever, and they took it down, That would just suck, because I would like this to be 20 years straight of episodes. At this point, I'm 543 deep. I look forward to it now. It's something in my day that I'm, for the most part, pretty excited for. Because, it's just like I'm just venting out loud, also sharing my thoughts. And the people who really, well, I don't want this to be offensive, but I feel like the people who really care about what I got going on, the people who genuinely do, will hear what I have to say. And the people who don't, it's fine, but they don't care enough to hear what I have to say. And that's not good or bad, it just is. So for example, 75 or Andy Frisella, there's a lot of podcasts from his that I haven't heard recently. So by definition, I just haven't given a fuck to listen. I just haven't, Honestly, podcasts in general, I'm just like, right now I'm just kind of on pause with them. I think they're great and I love them, but part of me is like, hey, I'm getting all this info, getting all this inspiration, and doing what with it, Because right now, what I need to do is just keep on learning, specifically about coding. And the thing is with that, I can't really do that over podcasts. I can listen to theories and how things are explained, but I need to see that shit, dude. Coding is visual, Sure, there's somebody who can do it blindfolded, or paint the picture in their head when people talk about it, but not me, dude. I need to see that shit. So anyway, so going back to what I was saying, this podcast is constant, and people who come and go, it's all good. I just hope that it's, this is all for something in the future, because I will be the only person in the world to have 20 years straight worth of podcasts recorded every single day for 20 years without missing a single day and documenting everything. And you could argue that I've missed a lot of documentation, but shit, talking about everything that I got going on every day for 20 years, that's like to say that today would be the last episode if I would have started at age 7. I wasn't even baptized. I grew up LDS. Didn't even have a little brother. I had one cousin at the time. It was Jake, and he was 1. No, he was probably not even. He was probably very close to being born or not born at all, because 10 years ago I was 7. I'm 7 years older than my cousin. Oldest cousin is Jake. There you go. So, yeah, 20 years ago, essentially the whole family didn't even exist, Shit. I don't know, there's so many things. So to think that would have been the first episode and this would have been the last today, that's how much time it is, That's fucking insane. And so, now that I'm so deep with so many episodes, with so much information, I really am weighing on the fact that I'm going to have some kind of team in the future that goes through all these episodes. I don't even care if it's one a day. As long as there's 2 people at least going through one a day, then we'll catch up, as long as we start before the 10-year mark. But that's just what I think about, Because, best case scenario, we have 5 people listen to 2 episodes a day. They give a deep analysis on it, or they use AI, whatever. Give it the proper organization, the proper tags, extract the important information or the important documentation things that I said, and then use that, make a timeline, so that way there is one giant cheat sheet or one timeline where I can, in my head, it's like you control F it, You say, okay, sales. So then I find all the episodes that have to do with sales. And they're sorted, So it's like, this was Bryson's first ever sales call. He shit his pants twice. This was Bryson's second ever sales call. He felt really good about it. 3 days later, he said, fuck all this, Or, this is when Bryson made a big pivotal decision, and it was a big moment. This is when Bryson had his first, I don't know, just all these different tags and timelines so that it's easily findable, and the episodes that objectively don't have much value, those can just be kind of forgotten about. But they're there if you want. Now the thing is with this whole project is that we've got 20 years worth of episodes. If you're somebody that listens to one episode a day and calls it and switches to another one or something, you're never going to listen to every episode. But it's funny because I say this every time I bring this up, but the whole idea from the start was to make every episode 1 to 3 minutes long. So that way you could listen to 20 days worth in an hour. But now it seems like most episodes are anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. And that wasn't the vision. It's not what I had in mind. But I don't know if I'd like this as much as I do if I didn't do this. And so I don't know if there's anybody out there listening that, finds value in this or is glad that I'm doing this. That's fucking cool. So you can say I'm doing it for you. But there's going to be a lot of things, essentially my whole life, because in 20 years, it'll actually be over half my life wait, hold on. What the fuck? No, not over half my life. In 20 years, it'll be almost half my life documented in the form of audio. Now, of course, I want video and photo and picture, color, all this stuff. But shit, this is going to be the one and only. I don't know. I just have big ambitions for the future for being some kind of, industry mover, industry giant. I don't know what you want to call it. Somebody who has a lot of influence, who has done something that nobody else has done. But in order for me to get to that point, I just have to keep on doing what I'm doing now. And that's just, just show up every day for a podcast for 20 years. No one's going to be able to say that they've done that. But anyway, so that's that. The other thing I wanted to go back with was something I didn't even finish talking about because I got so distracted with everything else. But so how I went about learning the first little bit of code that I've been learning today is I yesterday looked up. Well, first of all, I want to make iOS apps, and I think if I can just start there, then I think that'd be beneficial. And if it's not the best place to start, then oh well, this is how I'm starting. So I went and I looked up, what the hell is this? Got a half mile left to go, I think. Yep. So I went and looked up the fastest way or the easiest way to get into Swift to build iOS apps. Where should I start? All this stuff. I used ChatGPT, and it gave me a whole bunch of info, and it said you should try 100 days of Swift. And so it's a free course. It's 100 days. You build, I don't know how many projects you build. I think it's 19 projects. I could be wrong. Throughout the 100 days. And you just learn a lot. And they've also said, and something I completely disregarded because I forgot, but they've also said that people who finish the 100 days are actually able to get jobs at certain places as long as their portfolio looks good and they've got the interview down. And that's something I totally forgot about. I totally forgot that you can get hired as a person to do this 9 to 5. Totally forgot about that. Actually, one of my very best friends at the time went and did that for my ex-girlfriend's dad. And he was doing that years ago, so I bet he's kicking ass. So I wonder how he's doing in that regard, but I guess we'll never know. But anyway, so that's what I did today. So I went on there today, and I just started going through it, watched every single video. That's a lie. I watched the videos that are required. How it's broken down is there's a video, and then there's a article, and then there's the photos that you follow. And so rather than watching the video, I just followed along with the written article, and then I did everything that way. At the very end of each lesson, and the lessons are very short, which I love, makes it feel a little bit more digestible. At the very end of each lesson, there's a little test, a little practice quiz, if you want to call it that. And I do that, I fill that out, and just kind of refresh my knowledge a little bit, and that's it. Then I go on to the next one. Oh, dude, these dogs, bro. And so, this guy's pointing at me, dude. Puppy. Hey, I'm recording a podcast, buddy. Okay. So, dude. All right, see you later. Love you. Cute little dog, but annoying as can be, dude. Matter of fact. But anyway, so that's what I did today. I just looked that up, started following some of the days, and I got through 3 days. Got through a lot of practice quizzes and tests. Watched this big, long hour introduction video, and overall got a pretty good start, I would say, on everything. And it feels good, but you know, knowing me, I did 3 days worth in one day. So much, and I feel confident about it because I took the test, and I knew what everything was, even did the fill in the blank shit. Felt really good. Now again, I know it's day 3, it's very easy, relatively speaking, but I still feel like I didn't do anything today, So dude, I got home, I probably could have worked a lot more, but I had to cook. Wasn't prepared, so time that I could have spent doing that, I no longer could because I had to cook. So I'm just so hard on myself in that regard, It's like it's never enough in my head. But I am 2 days ahead right now because I've done day 1, day 2, day 3, which is 100 days. So at this pace, I'll finish it in 33 days. And I don't know, maybe I'll have these 19 projects done in the next month. Which is kind of funny to think that there's 100 days, but 19 projects, averaging about 5 days per project. Which means in some days I would do 2 projects, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Definitely not trying to get ahead of myself by any means, but just trying to learn, dude. It's exciting for me, I really enjoy it. Not the coding, because I'm learning, but not that I don't enjoy it, but that's what I'm saying. I really enjoy the puzzle solving, you make a typo, there's an error, and you got to figure out where it is. Otherwise, none of the code works. You got to figure out where that's at. You got to figure out where it's at and why there's an error. You got to figure out where it's at, why there's an error, and how you can fix it. And then from there, you got to figure out how to fix it, put in the solution, and then run it again. Hopefully it works. Now, to be clear, I'm not doing anything that's crazy at all. I'm just doing some very basic shit. I'm not even gonna pretend like I learned how to code Apple search engine, because I didn't. But I'm just pumped, dude, because I like it. And I found myself again today not wanting to stop. I needed to read, didn't want to read. Wanted to keep on coding. Wanted to keep on learning. And I think that's something that's on my side now. I've got, maybe I still have a lot of resistance to the things that I should be doing. But as far as the thing that I ultimately want to be doing to better myself in my future, there's very little resistance right now. Because in my head, dude, I could spend the next year doing this, and it's just such a nice break for me, because I've been battling mentally so hard, so much with the whole thing that I gave up on fitness coaching. That's why I wasn't successful. I'm gonna die in my grave knowing that I gave up, and it's gonna eat me alive. But the more I think about it now, the more I'm very grateful that I made this decision so early on. It could have been much earlier, but it could have also been very, very so much later. So I'm 27. I'm very grateful that I figured that out now instead of later. Dude, I keep psyching myself out. Am I 27? Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm almost 28, that's right. But I don't know, like in my head, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna be 30 and I'm not gonna have any degree. I'm still gonna be having a shit job, all this stuff. But I think really long term, and I'm like, dude, why is it that all these people that I look up to online, they're in their 40s, dude? Some are late 30s, some are 40s, some are 50s. We have Dan Martell, he's in his 40s. Chris Williamson, late 30s. Alex Hormozy, I think he's late 30s as well. We've got Andy Frisella, David Goggins, Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman, Lane Norton. These guys may have been killing it. What the fuck was that? These guys may have been killing it. Dude, I'm gonna do way over 2.5 miles. I can end my workout now, actually. But I'm like a half mile away from home, dude. All good. But maybe they were killing it younger. Matter of fact, they had to have been, but they just didn't have the platform, or they didn't want to make everything public. I don't know. So they were killing it then, and they just kept with it. So maybe today's day one of my story of when I flipped the switch, So it wouldn't be day one, because I got this podcast. We're at 5:43. I've got 2 different projects now that I worked on and I guess paused on because I needed money. First one was because I needed money. Second one is because I realized that, this is not what I want to do. There's a lot of pushback and resistance in a lot of different areas for this. I don't want to do it. And I think, dude, I really think that the whole hustle culture, all of that kind of bit me on this one, because I wanted to grind, make it work, force it to happen, do everything that I could, and just brute force my way into success with this, with the fitness coaching thing. And in my head, I still kind of believe to a certain extent, that if I stop for whatever reason, then I'm quitting, I'm bitching out, I'm giving up, I'm giving in. I wonder what the difference between giving up and giving in is. I don't know. But part of me feels like I'm doing one of those. The other part of me, dare I say more, the wiser part of me, says, dude, you're good. Thank heavens you made this decision now instead of waiting any longer. Now that you're free of that shit, now we can focus. And I don't know, maybe that just wasn't for me, dude. And this isn't like I'm better than or worse than. It's just, I'm just speaking facts here. But maybe I just needed more of a challenge with certain aspects and less of a challenge with others. So when it comes time to do social media videos and record in public and be personable and record videos and share how to do this and do that to people who just don't give a fuck, in my opinion, and who will do what they want to do because they want to do it, not because they had help or a coach. I think it's just one of my core beliefs. If you want to change, you'll change. And if you don't want to change, then you won't. And I think that's it. Because for me, when I didn't hire a coach until 2017. So I had almost 5 years of lifting experience. Got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And 5 years of lifting experience before I hired a coach. And I hired a coach for a bodybuilding competition because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing with bodybuilding comp. And I didn't want to screw it up because I had worked so hard to get to that point. I didn't know how to, there's a lot of shit that I didn't know, but I know now, but whatever you learn. Didn't know how to manipulate sodium and water intake and carb load to look the best, to look the fullest. I didn't know how to do any of that shit. And so I hired somebody out for that. And it worked well. I could have, that's the thing, man. I'm not even trying to go back to what I'm saying. But I hired a coach. It went well, but I still cheated on my diet. I had kind of a funny story now, but I had, okay, think about the big bowl, a bowl in your kitchen that you have cereal in. Now think about the bigger bowl. Now think about the salad bowl. I had 3 of those full of Cheerios with probably a half gallon of milk one night. One night. I'm not saying that to sound whatever, but that's what I did. So clearly I didn't want to win the show. Otherwise I wouldn't have done that. I just believe that wholeheartedly. If I wanted to win, I would not have done that. So I did that. So therefore, by logical expression, I didn't want to win. And so even though I hired a coach, still didn't want it. So it's funny because I did get first place in the teen division, but it's interesting because the guy that I beat in teens, he beat me in another class. So that was kind of inconsistent. So part of me is like, well, did I really get first place? Or should I have gotten first in another one? So it's kind of interesting, but just posing, I guess. But anyway, just makes you think, So just something I believe in. So when I'm sitting here trying to sell these programs and try to make people think that I've got the solution and this is what they need, because how I want to talk and how I want to speak to help people is not the way that makes the most money. Not that I would be 100% Andy Frisella or, screaming fuck every other word, but I would definitely be speaking more of, quit being a bitch, just do it. If you wanted to do it, you would. If you wouldn't, if you didn't, then you wouldn't. And then so on and so forth. Not, oh man, it's not your fault. You've been lied to. This is so hard, I get it. Dude, I don't get it, Like, just fucking go. I record this, I say this as I got 40 pounds on my back and I'm walking to almost 3 miles. Okay, workout over. Done. So it's just interesting for me, dude. You can call them limiting beliefs. You can just call them being true to character. I don't know. That's another thing. I just don't know. Is that me being true to who I am? Is that me with limiting beliefs? Is it both? Is it neither? Truthfully, I think I don't know. Part of me think there's limiting belief, because if my life truly depended on it, I could make it happen, I could do it. Doesn't mean I'd like it anymore or love it or hate it or whatever anymore or any less than I do now. But it would be different, for sure. So anyway, guys, I'm home now. Hold on. So now I gotta read, upload the show, finish my water, and that's it though. So diet was good. Tell you what, it's pretty challenging. Forgot that it was that challenging to get 200 grams of protein in 8 hours, which just the time frame that I can eat, just kind of a bummy time frame, dude. Not gonna lie. I have to eat lunch at. I can actually think of different ways to move this around. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else I want to say about that. But what else, dude? I think that's it. Trying to think. I'm actually really out of breath. Let me sit down for a sec. I guess I get in my workout now. 2.8 miles. 51 minutes. What up? I think I'll just end it with this. I feel much more, I guess, in tune with shit, Like I didn't feel guilty for doing what was exciting me at work today. I didn't feel guilty or feel bad about trying to learn a new skill that I really wanted to learn, that I've been putting off for years, plural. I didn't feel bad for doing that today. And what I mean is, in the past, and literally as early as last week, I'd be working on some Excel sheet, or I'd be trying to figure something out for Mina, or look at Go High Level, and I'm finding interest in this a lot. But I'm like, dude, I can't be focusing on this. I gotta focus on my own stuff. Maybe my own stuff was this the whole time, but I was just focusing on the wrong stuff. So it's just some thought there. But I don't know, dude. I am going to share this, though. So I actually got about 10 minutes more of this that I want to share. And that is, so today is the last day of the deferred resignation program. Maybe I'll know tomorrow. Dude, I won't, but highly doubtful that I learn anything tomorrow. What's my phone doing, dude? Anyway, maybe I'll learn tomorrow that I'm quitting, whatever. It's all good to go, and I'm gone. Maybe not. But today was the last day, so I was exploring. I was weighing my options. I don't remember if I shared this on the show or not, but if I did, then sorry. But if I get the deferred resignation, I think what I'm going to do is just go to FedEx full time instead of taking the 5 months off to, quote, focus on my own thing. Because even if I did focus on my own thing for 5 straight months with coding now, with software development and all this, learning this skill, because right now it's just learning. There's nothing that I can do other than learn. I can try to make an app, but if it breaks, then what? I'm fucked. I don't have any money to hire any team. And ultimately, I think it'd be beneficial if I learned how to do this so that I can make whatever I want to make. And in the future, if I want to have a team, then I can explore opportunities for that. But if I get that deferred resignation, I'm just going to keep on working. I'm going to go back to FedEx full time. I did all the numbers, crunched all the math, and with the extra money from FedEx, it would be nearly 20 grand pocketed. But because your boy has different financial beliefs, then that's essentially just going to be getting me out of debt. It sounds like such a cop-out to say that I have different financial beliefs. That's why I'm $20,000 in debt, But fuck, dude, I've been saying this since day one. So when I make it, it'll all make sense, It'll all make sense why I never give a fuck about a credit score. Never gave a fuck about maxing out credit card, Matter of fact, if anything were to happen, that's not even my own money to begin with. So if somebody stole my credit card or if that thing got hacked, it's not my money. So just kind of interesting, but neither here nor there. But with the deferred resignation, if I don't get it, then I'm just going to stay where I'm at. I mean, not much I can do there. If I do get it, which I remain hopeful, I'm going to go back to FedEx full time, and I'm going to quit Mina. I think I'm going to do that anyway. He's a great guy, dude, and I don't know. Struggle with that. I definitely don't want to leave him because he's a great guy, and I enjoy the phone calls that we have, and he's got a good team going. But it's just hard for me to care about these things with check-ins and fitness, and a lot of the value there for me is gone now if I'm not trying to ask him questions for my own fitness business. Like what kind of content, what are the best things to do, what kind of things would you do for your clients? If I'm not going to do that anymore, then there's a lot that changes for me. That value dynamic is a little bit different. But anyway, I'll go back to FedEx full time, and then all that money that I make from FedEx would just go straight into bills, so that come September time, I would set myself up for success to be living with Lexi and to be a lot more financially responsible, having another human being that's in my house. Now, obviously, she's a grown, adult, independent woman, and she doesn't need me to support her whatsoever. She has her own place now. She has her own car. She fucking has her master's degree, written 2 books. Like, she's well off. She's good. She doesn't need any kind of assistance or support from me whatsoever. That being said, I don't want to be the person that drags us through the mud or the person that causes financial struggles or stress or anything like that at all. I don't even want it. I don't want anything to do with financial disagreements or financial stress or anything. I don't even want it to be a question, at all. Not even one bit. If there's one day where we have to be like, hey, we gotta figure something out. We can't go out to XYZ this until next pay period because I don't have money. I don't want that. And that's not saying like I'm above being poor or whatever, or that, it's okay to, has nothing to do with that. It's that I love Lexi so much that I don't want to put any kind of shit or stress on us that would otherwise be unnecessary if we don't have to, because there's no need to. Half of all the, hey Siri. Oh, I'm recording with my phone, so I can't do that. What percentage of marriages end in divorce through financial stress? I'm using my phone or my laptop.
According to divorce statistics, a final straw reason for divorce is a lack of compatibility in the financial arena. which causes almost 41% of divorces. Everything from different spending habits and financial goals to one spouse making considerably more money than the other, causing a power struggle can strain a marriage to the breaking point. This answer is from marriage.com.
So hopefully you heard that, but if you didn't, it said 41% of marriages end in divorce through some kind of financial reason. 41%, almost half. I don't want to come near that whatsoever. So all that being said, and yet again, just expressing my love for Lexi, I'm going to use all the money from FedEx and then just honestly put it towards debt, because there's nothing that I could buy right now, right this very minute, that could get me closer to where I want to go. Because right now it's dependent on me learning. I have a lot of free resources to learn right now. And quite literally, at this point in my life, anything is going to be better than nothing. Anything, because I don't know anything. So whatever I pick up and learn is going to be as beneficial if I paid 20 grand for a course, you know? So that's the idea. And the reason for that is because I could pay off so much that it would free up. So here's the crunched numbers. So when we would move in together, I would be free of the Change Lives Academy. So that's $500 a month back in my pocket. We would split rent. So if it's $2,500, then I'd probably pay, we'll just say $1,400. She pays $1,100. And so that way there is almost $500 back in my pocket again. So there is $1,000 total. Then so I'm negative $1,000 a month. So that 1,000 right there would make me break even. Now with all the money that I get, that would go to pay off a loan, potentially my car, and then several credit cards. And that would free up almost $700, almost. And so that would be $700 in the green per month that I'd be. Now, plus 700 is a lot better than negative 1,000. So that being said, that would just be for 5 months. And then after that, I would have to go back to just working normally, which would be FedEx, which is the downside of this whole equation, because working FedEx is hard on your body, especially when you're trying to get done quick. I gamify the fuck out of it because I try to go so hard so quick, and I think that's honestly why I get so exhausted. But I'll have to work on that. But working FedEx in the winter, in the snow, is challenging. It is very challenging. And so props to people who do that. Not something I want to do, but it might just be something that I have to do for the time being, so that Lexi and I can be a lot better off. And so that there can be a lot less stress, because, I was talking to her yesterday, but the thing that is different between these two scenarios of me being a fitness coach and then me doing this coding thing is that right now with fitness, there's so many moving parts that I have to do if I want to make this work. I have to practice sales. I have to practice role plays. I have to practice getting better at booking calls, which is all the whole sales game. So I have to say everything with sales, I have to, because what I'm doing right now is I'm my own business. I'm the person that has to reach out to people and convince them to give me $1,500 for 6 months so that I can tell them, what foods have what calories in them, And I think it's more difficult for me personally because I don't necessarily believe that people should hire coaches. I think they should figure it the fuck out themselves, because when you do shit yourself, you have you have a greater, I almost said adhesive. You have a greater ability to follow through with the thing because it was your idea, your call, your choice. You made it happen. There's greater pride, all this stuff. And I don't know. So there's all that. I got to make content. I got to post it daily. So that means I got to do some kind of thing with graphic design. Got to do some kind of thing with video. I have to be active on social media, something that you guys have heard me talk about. If I didn't have to have social media, I probably wouldn't in the traditional sense. Still, now with the whole thing of posting my podcast more openly, maybe I could start growing that, because I'm 543 deep, dude. Am I 543? Is it 543? It's going to be funny if it's not, but 543 episodes deep. I feel like if anybody were to see, oh, Bryson, I used to went to school with him, he's got a podcast, 543, what the fuck? I would at least click on one. Now, from there, it's probably the first and the last show they click on, because never focus on any kind of
professional quality education shit on here like most podcasts do. It's documentation. But I have to believe that this would lead to somewhere in at least the next 5 years, you know? So by at least episode 2000, I think things would be doing all right. It's just my prediction. I don't know. But anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I have to focus on all these things, you know, not to mention I have to keep myself going to the gym. Not that I wouldn't, but it's almost like I said today, I went to the gym, didn't even think about filming. It was great. It was just a workout. So not that I wouldn't work out or not that I wouldn't take care of myself, but it's almost like I don't have a choice. I have to, because no one's going to hire a fat coach. Even though there is a overweight human being in the $1 Million Mastermind. Her name is Janelle, and she does millions in 3 months, 4 months. And she's very overweight. But that's her niche. She targets people who used to be 400, now they're 300. And so she's killing it. And I think that's very interesting. But no one's going to look at me, scrawny, flubby, chubby, fat man booby, and be like, yep, that's my guy. You know? So it kind of just makes the thing that I really loved at one point in my life a job. And I say that knowing how it sounds with the coding thing, but so with videography, I think for me it's just like when I give the creative powers and control over to somebody else and I get limits placed upon me. What I mean is I used to love videography so much and I loved doing it. But when people wanted videos done, they called the shots. They said, I don't want this angle, I look bad. I want this over here. I want him to be in the shot. I want you to get me doing biceps because I look the best. And I don't want to make any stupid faces because it's embarrassing. And it's like, oh, well, you just removed all the good things that make up a good shot, you know? So now I have to pander to those requests, and it's not fun because my creative power is suppressed. And I don't feel that way with coding because it's like there is so many different ways that you can get to the same result. And there are so many different ways to create something. Not to mention there's an infinite number of things you can create. And if I'm doing solo projects, it's all me, you know? And when I have a team, I don't, you know, I'll be calling the shots there. So, I don't know. But I don't know. I think it's a little bit different with fitness because it's like I feel like fitness should be part of life, whereas software development, stuff like that, doesn't have to be. It's probably just a hobby that turns into a profession. But what I mean is you should exercise. You should eat well. I mean, you should. 70% of the U.S. would disagree. However, you should. So comparing that to software development, you don't have to do shit. You know, that's totally optional. You don't have to do that. Again, with fitness and nutrition, I think that is an obligation to every fucking person who ever hears this. Get yourself in shape, take care of your body, stop eating like a jackass, put some good stuff in your body, drink water, exercise, walk, get some sunlight, you know, do some fucking human being shit. You know, get off your fucking phone, all this stuff. And I think we should do that anyway. So to try to make that some kind of profession, I don't know. I'm just trying to sort out my feelings with a whole bunch of stuff. But with really anything else, you know, a lot of different things, it's very different. So anyway, I feel like I'm talking in circles now. Do just want to end this off with I feel very refreshed, and I don't feel. I mean, it does suck that I'm in this contract with Change Lives Academy for. So we would have. I got 6 more payments, so that kind of sucks. There's 3 more grand that's just going bye-bye. So that does suck, but I mean, it is what it is, dude. What are you gonna do? You know. But yeah, I do feel refreshed. I do feel a lot better with things. I do feel more clarity. Oh, that's where I was going with that. Fuck, I got to do all that stuff for fitness coaching. You know, the content, the sales, all that stuff, social media. Take care of all that stuff. And with coding right now, the only thing that I need to worry about right now, the only thing is just learning and just implementing and just putting reps in. That's it. For just one thing. I don't have to worry about meal prepping some code. I don't have to worry about making content and, you know, putting code out there. I don't have to worry about recording videos and editing videos on how to code. Don't have to worry about nothing, bro. I'm just going to learn. That's it. I'm just going to read a page, implement what I learn, make something work, make something break, fix it, repair it, go again. That's it. And so while I was sitting at work today, I had this feeling, dude. I'm like, this is all I got to do. This is it. Okay, so now backtracking because I remembered how this connects. That's what I have to do now. And so if I still had to do that with, living with Lexi, I think that would that'd put me under a lot more stress for now. And I wouldn't want to bring that home, especially if we're living together. Because there's some days where I come home from work and I'm like, holy fuck, I have to record content. I still have to meal prep. I still have to read. Dude, fucking dishes got to be done. Got to fold laundry. And it's just like, well, not doing shit then, I mean, that's not the case. I do something always, but I just I don't want to have to worry about that. So I would free up all this extra income. So I guess what I was trying to get back at before I got way down this rabbit hole was if I get the deferred resignation, I'm going to quit, work FedEx full time, and that's going to be my job until the foreseeable future. So maybe another year, maybe another 2 years, maybe even 3, maybe even 5. Who knows? But one thing is for sure is that would be the smartest financial thing to do for the time being, so that when Lexi and I live together, there is much less stress and much less tension financially. There's no worry about that because she's already doing well for herself. But if she gets her rent cut even more, that's going to free up even more money for her. So we're going to be a lot better off, Also, we could go get some shitty junker house for $400, a year, and down at the corner of Chicago. We could, but we're not going to, because we just want some nice shit. Not so nice that we're breaking the bank, but just nice spot in a nice neighborhood. That's all we want. So if we can do that, and I can ensure that there's no financial stress, and that when I'm home, I can just work on my shit, and when she's home, she can do whatever she wants to do, or whatever, that would just free up so much mental bandwidth, and it'd be a lot more conducive of an environment for me to learn, rather than holy shit, not going to be able to pay rent. Hey babe, can you spot me $300 this month? Instead of that, it would just be like, oh, I got it, and then I just keep learning, and I don't worry about shit. If I don't get the deferred resignation, then I'm just going to stay where I'm at, and nothing about my situation really changes. I'm still going to be negative 1,000 up until September, which, that is a problem for sure. But I will figure it out. That would be a problem, to be honest. So the best case scenario. So here's the thing. So the deferred resignation goes through. That's going to be fucking awesome for me. But when the money stops pouring in, that means I'm stuck with FedEx again. Now, what's funny, I think about this all the time now, is when I quit FedEx, I said on this podcast publicly, and it was around August. It was like August 9th or something like that. August 8th, I don't know, of 2024. So whatever episode that is, they're all dated. You can go back and find it. But one of those episodes, I said, I don't feel like that was it. I don't feel like that was my final goodbye. I feel like I'm going to be back. I said that, and I fucking knew it. Fucking knew it, dude. It wasn't it. I'm coming back, baby. Well, kind of hope I am. But, yeah, so, I really hope the deferred resignation thing goes through. If it doesn't, then it's okay. Here's the thing. So with FedEx, it's a very active job. I can't bring my laptop and just sit down and code or learn or what. Can't do what I currently do at work. Because, for example, today, we had no work today. So for maybe 5 hours out of the day today, maybe even 6, I just spent it learning how to code. I'm not going to get that same time working for FedEx. So if I value that time aspect more than I value the freedom of the financial stress, then I should stay with my current job no matter what. But I think now, given the circumstances, I think I value the no stress from finances, living with a very important person of mine, which is my girlfriend Lexi, and not having to worry about the financial shit. That way I can take care of myself and also take care of her. For example, this becomes a dual effort. So if she gets sick and she can't work for 2 weeks, I need to be able to say, yeah, I got this. It's okay. And I will if I'm making $700 extra per month. You know what I mean? And that that's just kind of where I want to be. Because if, for example, if I'm already negative a month and I am sick or whatever, for some reason I don't have PTO, then that kind of sinks both of us because we both got to pull our weight, you know? And I just want to ensure that I am the best teammate I can possibly be for her, and especially financially in this specific situation. Because from that point forward, the thing that is going to get me to the next step is continuously learning and implementing and actually making something. And I think that's where I would strive a lot more, because I can make some shit, make it work, make it functional, and then say, hey, look, you need this. Rather than, hey, I made a workout program. You can, and dude, that's the other thing. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole again, but to be truthful with weight loss and muscle building and stuff like that, you can't just say, hey, check out this workout program. It's going to build 10 pounds of muscle this week and shred 30 pounds of fat this month. You can't say that shit. First of all, you're going to get called out for it. Second of all, absolutely you cannot say that shit because that's fucking lying. So that's just dishonesty. But if you say, yeah, in the next month you're going to lose about, if we do this very slow and steady, about 2.5 pounds or 4 pounds, make this happen. No one's going to say, yeah, that coach, I want that coach. I can lose 4 pounds in the next month. Sally down the street lost 4 this week. I want her coach. People that gets me frustrated. And I'm speaking matter-of-factly here. I feel like I justify everything I say now with just speaking matter-of-fact. But I am. I'm not complaining. That's just why it's frustrating. I can make the best program. I can do whatever. Still can't make the claim that, yeah, if you want to build, you want to get 3 inches on your chest, 5 inches on your arms, ditch the love handles by next week. Hell yeah, this is it. But if I make some kind of software that's like, dude, simplify all your fucking problems with this goddamn software, input it here, 2 hours to set up, you're good. You and your team are great. You can serve these many clients, blah, 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 boom. Ta-da, Not to mention, I don't know. Dude, I could just go on about this. I just feel like this is such a much better fit for me. It allows me to use my brain very heavily with solving problems. It allows me to, sounds arrogant as shit, but I've always felt like a lot of positions I'm in with jobs and stuff in life, I'm just not, they're not for me. I'm, for lack of a better phrase, I'm just too smart for them, FedEx, honestly, being one of them. Anybody can grab a box, scan it, put it on a porch. Anybody can do that. So in some regard, I do feel like I'm better than that. I shouldn't be, stooping so low to do that. However, it's temporary. Got to do what you got to do. Honestly, that sounded fucking nasty. I don't like that I said that. What I'm trying to get at here is that, it doesn't require much. Very low entry position, very low skill position. Just have legs that work and a finger that can scan packages. And the ability to read numbers. Drive a truck, but shit, even then people crash those fuckers. So, anyway, guys, so that's that. So, I know it's temporary, but shit, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I think there's a lot of respect that goes out to anybody who does that. They do what they have to do for as long as they have to get to where they want to go, to be able to do what they want to do long term. And so maybe this is just a minor step back, but, I like to think that I took, I couldn't take any more steps forward, so I had to take 10 steps back in order to take 100 steps forward, something like that. Because, again, I feel very refreshed. It's like I'm doing shit that interests me a lot. I'm excited every day because I'm like, when do I get to learn the thing that allows me to make a button that I can push, and then it gives me some kind of result in the console? That'd be sick, that shit excites me. And I was talking with Lexi again, and I don't know if it's because I feel like it's nerdy or if I feel like it's any type of thing, but I don't know. I think I've just always said, oh, it's going to take so long to learn. I don't want to have to dedicate all that time. I'm so much closer with fitness coaching. I can make money that way. I'll just do that. It's only temporary anyway. But I think if I would have just started with coding from the start, I think I would have been better off. So you live and you learn. This is just part of my story. So part of the documentation process. So I don't know how many episodes we made it to before I got into fitness coaching again, but maybe it's split in threes now. Maybe the first 180 were the supplement, the next 180 were fitness coaching, the next 180 are going to be, That wouldn't even add up. It would have to be the first 180 and the last 300. Last 270. I don't know. Who gives a fuck, dude? Anyway, this podcast went on way too long. So I'm going to end it now. By the way, I'm using my DJI mic. So for example, right now I'm holding the motherfucker in my mouth. You'll have to also let me know how it sounds. I put the wind protector on when I was outside. Hold on. If you can hear this it doesn't work. If you can, then it doesn't. Well, I guess kind of, huh? I don't know. Big old puffball, just it's a wind screen, whatever you call it. Okay, that's it. Got to go to bed 8 minutes ago. Not going to make that happen, obviously. Still got to drink my water. Still got to read. Still got to post on my Instagram. Still got to post a talking story. And I believe that's it. That's it. All right. Holy shit. Love you guys. Thanks so much for listening to another one. Feeling good about everything. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. That's it for today. If you got some sort of value or you were entertained, please consider leaving a rating on the platform that you're listening on. It helps a ton. If you are looking for a more polished version of this show, you can check out the Allegiant Excellence podcast, where I go deep into mindset, discipline, fitness, and personal development as a man. And don't forget to check out the links below and read the description. There are sometimes things written there that didn't quite make it on the episode. So thank you so much for your ongoing support in a guy that has massive ambition but nothing to show for it quite yet. And as always, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen and support. I'll see you tomorrow.